We can say all we want about how the SEC week in, week out is the hardest conference to schedule, hardest conference to play in week out, but Ohio State has a gauntlet ahead of them. So I'm tired of hearing all this Big Ten slander on scheduling, and that's why the Ohio State Buckeyes and the Big Ten are just are not really that good of programs because their schedules are so easy. Just think it's asinine. I think it's... All right, guys, welcome back to the Daily Ham, episode 2. This is the Hammy Show. I'm Hammy Culpepper, your host. We are presented by First American Bank and Trust. My friends at First American are the best in the business. I keep talking about it, but their service is unmatched, and that's what all that matters to me when you're dealing with a bank. I don't understand any of that money talk. Like I was a journalism major, never had the financial background, never had the accounting background, never had any of that stuff. But my friends at First American make it the easiest, breeziest, beautifulest conversation to have, and they make it so great to understand. And they have helped me so much getting the Hammy Show off the ground. So huge shout out to First American Bank and Trust for getting the Hammy Show off the ground, taking us to the moon, and of course presenting the Hammy Show as well. But guys, let's jump right into the Daily Ham. We've got some major ham lines around sports today. Just a reminder, what the Daily Ham is every single day. We're shooting for 6 p.m., but every single weeknight, we're going to bring you the daily sports news that gets you through your day. Whether it's your commute to work, your commute home from work, we're coming to you live on TikTok, live on Instagram, and recording for YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcast, all that stuff to be uploaded later tonight. But we're doing this quick little summary of what happened in the world of sports today, what to look forward to tonight and tomorrow. Really appreciate everything that y'all are doing, following me, supporting me. And it has been such a pleasure to join and do this for y'all. So anyways, let's get to it. Sorry, I'm rambling. First up, NFL, major headlines from the Hall of Fame. Guys, Bill Belichick got snubbed. Can y'all believe it? I surely can't, because Bill Belichick is the single greatest coach in the history of the NFL. And the fact that he was not a first ballot Hall of Famer today is asinine. It's absolutely ridiculous. Yes, he's had off the field issues. Yes, he's got a crazy relationship going on right now. But can we really get an explanation on why he was not selected to the Hall of Fame? I can't believe it. I really can't believe it. Everybody talked about, some voters came out and said that it had nothing to do with Spygate. It had nothing to do with Deflategate. I call BS. That has to do with it. If it doesn't, then it just proves the point that he should have been in no matter what. Like, outside of those controversial issues, he's the greatest coach of all time. Well, then somebody talked about how, he wouldn't be anything without Brady. That's such BS. And look, I get the quarterback is most important position on the field, but Bill Belichick was the most important man in football for quite some time. Took the Patriots to God knows how many Super Bowls, won 6 of them. I just think it is so dumb that he was snubbed as a first ballot Hall of Famer. Hall of Fame has some stuff to figure out, because they have to answer a lot of questions for a lot of these conversations that are being had about him being snubbed. On the other end of the NFL, current coaches, we've got some hirings happening around the league. Bills hired Joe Brady, their former offensive coordinator, and former LSU quarterbacks coach, passing game coordinator on that famous 2019 LSU team with Joe Burrow that won a national championship, going 15-0. Joe Brady, man, he's a hell of a coach. But here's where my question marks are. They cleaned house in Buffalo. Why did they clean house? Because they couldn't get over this hump. Sean McDermott had taken them to all of these playoffs, but they couldn't get over the Chiefs hump. Then they couldn't get over the Bengals hump. Then they couldn't make it to the Super Bowl. They couldn't do whatever. Are you kidding me that you want to make a move and you want to be progressive and you want to go get the next guy, but you just go get somebody else in the building? It makes me question the firing of Sean McDermott even more. And the craziest part to me is the press conference that was had after Sean McDermott's firing, where Kevin Pegula gets up on the podium and just bashes Keon Coleman. He kind of bad. Like, he defends his GM, and that was really where my question marks remained with the Bills organization. They weren't putting these guys in skills positions to surround Josh Allen. And so they keep the GM, but they get rid of McDermott in one of the most questionable firings ever. And it did not instill any confidence in the Buffalo fan base, in the Bills Mafia, when he got up on the podium and just bashed his team. Now you go and hire Joe Brady. It behooves me. It behooves me. But I will say this. I love Joe Brady. I think he's a fantastic coach. I did a podcast episode in the middle of football season, post Brian Kelly getting fired, and it was all the coaching carousel updates around college football, and it was what I would like to see. It wasn't based on any rumors I had heard, based on any candidacy openings that were really targeting guys. It was just my preference, my opinion on who I would like to see on what college campus. Well, I would have liked to see Lane Kiffin stay in Oxford, Mississippi at Ole Miss. So I said that was my preference, for Lane to stay at Ole Miss. But then LSU needs to go get somebody else. And who was that somebody else? My preference was Joe Brady. I thought Joe Brady could be a college football coach. I think a head coach. I think he could master the recruiting. He has proof of work, proof of success with Joe Burrow and that 2019 LSU team. I know that was a insane combination of talent that we'll probably never see again in college football. But Joe Brady, as the passing game coordinator, led Joe Burrow to 62 touchdown passes and just like 3 interceptions, led them to a 15-0 season. In that organization at LSU, I think Ed Orgeron was kind of the figurehead. He had just hired really well around him. Dave Aranda was his defensive coordinator. Then you got Joe Brady as his passing game coordinator. So he had really, really good coordinators in the building. But Coach O was the figurehead. He was the kind of he was the guy to get people motivated, the guy to get LSU motivated. But Joe Brady, I think, was the mastermind behind that 2019 team. So I really wanted him to go to LSU. All that to say is I think they have hired very well with the Bills. It just makes me question what is going on with the alignment, what is going on with the owner, the GM, everything. It just seems a little wonky after the Sean McDermott firing. Next up, Browns hire Todd Monken. I have a special, special place in my heart for one Todd Monken. He is the greatest offensive coordinator savior in Georgia football history, and I'm not dissing Mike Bobo, not in the slightest. But Todd Monken, what he did with Stetson Bennett in 2021 and 2022 is the stuff of legend. And Todd Monken will be, I think, a pretty decent head coach. The hard thing is he goes to Cleveland. Cleveland is a place where coaching careers go to die. And that's just the reality of it. That's just what the Browns organization is. That's what the Browns franchise is. It is a hard place to win. So I feel for Todd Monken. But if there's any man to do it in the NFL, I think Todd Monken can. Now, the question marks remain, is Shedeur your franchise quarterback? I think not. I think he's a bridge quarterback. I don't think you go to the draft and get somebody this year. I think you wait till next year. Next year, the quarterback class, the entire draft class as a whole, is going to be insane. So I ask you this, Cleveland. Please stay patient with Todd Monken. You might win just 2-3 games this year with Shedeur at quarterback and at Monken at the helm. But just hold out. Just trust me. When you get those guys in there, when you get the right guy in Cleveland at quarterback, when you get some pieces around him on the offensive line, a running back to support him to get the run game established, some weapons on the outside, and then you have a really good defense. You don't want to waste Myles Garrett's career. He's one of the best we've ever seen. But you get some guys on the offensive side of the ball, and I think Todd Monken will be a special head coach hire for Cleveland. Other news on the coaching carousel in the NFL, Clint Kubiak is interviewing with the Raiders and the Cardinals this week. Clint Kubiak is the offensive coordinator for Seattle. He's got a Super Bowl to worry about, but he is going to take some interviews in Las Vegas and Arizona. So, hey, all props to him, not sliding him at all. I know he's definitely focused on the Super Bowl. It's just like college football with all of these, the Ole Miss moves. Everybody comes back to Oxford to help them to a semifinal appearance. It's the same way in the NFL. These dudes are professionals. They know how to handle it. And wherever Clint Kubiak ends up, whether with the Raiders or with the Cardinals, I think that's a great, great hire. What he's done with Sam Darnold is very impressive. Taking Sam Darnold to the Super Bowl and Seattle, I think he's been a great offensive coordinator for Mike McDonald. It's going to be a huge hole to fill as the Seahawks go into the 2026-27 season. But for now, Seahawks are rolling. Clint Kubiak is their offensive coordinator. But what makes the decision for Clint Kubiak? I really think it boils down to how much he likes Fernando Mendoza, because that is the undisputed first-round pick, first overall, to Las Vegas. I keep wanting to call them Oakland. It's just so ingrained in my brain growing up like that. But it comes down to how much Kubiak likes Mendoza. How could you not? Well, he's an offensive coordinator. He wants his type of quarterback in there. It's like Dable wanted Jackson Dart in New York. Now, Jackson Dart has proven himself to be potentially a great quarterback one day. So that was just a good draft pick overall. But I really think with those offensive coordinators in that position, you really want your guy. If you're going to be the head coach of an organization, you really want your guy. So is Fernando Mendoza his guy? Does he love Fernando Mendoza? We shall see. But I think that's what it boils down to. If Fernando Mendoza is his favorite quarterback in the draft, if he knows that he's going to be the future of Las Vegas, then hell, Clint Kubiak signed that contract and get to Las Vegas. All right. On to the Olympics, wrapping up NFL talk, but the Olympics are 8 days away. Winter Olympics 2026 in Milan, Italy. But there's some rumors coming out of Milan that these arenas, these structures that they are building for Olympic stadiums are in horrible condition. They are not in the slightest ready to host sporting events, but hockey players across the world, including the U.S. hockey team, have come out and said, we don't give a damn. We don't give a damn what happens in the arena. All we care about, we don't care about what happens with the arena. We care about what happens in the arena, the man in the arena. I think that's a badass mentality from all of those hockey players. We well know that hockey players are some of the most badass athletes in all of sports. And so for them to be like, the ice, the rumors that are coming out is that the ice is not fit to be played on. So what? The hockey players don't give a damn. And I love that. I respect that. So there's some quick Olympics talk. Once we get to the Olympics in 8 days, we're going to have plenty of coverage from there here on the Daily Ham. It's going to be awesome. I love the Olympics. And hot take, maybe, I kind of like the Winter Olympics more than the Summer Olympics. There's some great events in the Summer Olympics, but all around, watching some dudes go 120 miles per hour down a ski slope is absolutely electric. So I love the Winter Olympics. I'm pumped. We're going to bring you medal counts. We'll bring you coverage. We'll bring you everything we can from the Winter Olympics in Milan, Italy. Okay, back to football, but on the college level. College football, as we know, is in shambles. It is it's one of the craziest sports, one of the craziest sagas, eras of college football in my lifetime for sure, but I think in probably most living college football fans, this is the craziest era we've seen. It's the wild, wild west in regards to the NIL and transfer portal. Nobody knows what to do. Nobody knows how to handle it. Nobody knows the rules that it takes to stop it and to somewhat reduce this fluctuation and craziness in the world of college football. But the biggest headlines coming from college football today is Ole Miss. Ole Miss, with Pete Golding at the helm, Lane Kiffin on his way to Baton Rouge, has been now caught twice tampering. We all saw what Dabo Swinney did when he took the podium about a week ago and bashed Pete Golding, bashed Ole Miss for what they did tampering with a player that had already signed with Clemson, and they just offered him a check for $2 million for 2 years and said, why don't you come on over to Oxford? We'll pay you bukus of money. And it has to be illegal. There's the rules, if there are any, state that is very much illegal. And the fact that Ole Miss is just doing this time and time again is asinine. Now, today it just came out that Fresno State has filed a complaint for tampering with wide receiver Josiah Freeman, offering him money as he is committed, signed, and playing for Fresno State football right now. So what happens with Ole Miss? Well, first of all, let's backtrack to Dabo Swinney. Props to Dabo. I'm not the biggest Dabo supporter, especially in the new age of college football where you have to hit the transfer portal. I don't think it's a great approach to not hit the transfer portal, and he's dipped his toes in it. but now obviously this tampering stuff. But I have all this respect for Dabo because he went out and said something about a big time program in the SEC. And now these smaller schools like Fresno State, which have probably been picked on by a lot of SEC schools. I'm not just saying Ole Miss is the only one, but I respect Dabo for calling it out and giving these little schools a voice to be like, okay, if one of the other major schools, major Power Four schools, a former national champion head coach is calling out Ole Miss for tampering with our athletes and giving us, I think that's awesome. So props to Dabo, and that situation at Ole Miss is quite foobarred, if you will. Moving on down to the countdown, 210 days, ladies and gentlemen, 210 days till college football is back, and I'm already ready. I can't wait for college football. Spring ball, always fun to hear the rumors coming out of spring camps and into spring games. I think it's going to be a hell of a college football season. We don't really know what spring games really are now, if these schools will even do it. But, hey, it's still spring football, and getting the chance to go to a G-Day, getting the chance to go to whatever Crimson game in Alabama, whatever these spring games are called around the country. It's football, guys. Why are you complaining about spring games? It's football. It's the pigskin on the gridiron. How can you not love it? So 210 days away from the college football season. In the transfer portal, Darian Mensah has committed to Miami. He has resolved his issues with Duke. I'm not even going to pretend like I know what is going on with that whole situation with Duke, but it sounds similar to some of this tampering things with Ole Miss. It's so confusing. It's so hard to keep up with. I am the type of person that until they are suited up on game one of the regular season with your team's helmet on, with your team's logo on their chest, then I don't believe. That's just the state of college football that we're in. I don't believe they will play for you. It's mind-boggling to me, but it seems Mensah has resolved his issues with Duke, and he is on his way to Coral Gables to be Miami's next quarterback. Miami has had, obviously, great success with the past two quarterbacks that they have had out of the transfer portal, one being Cam Ward, who was the soon-to-be first overall pick to the Tennessee Titans, and, of course, this past year with Carson Beck, who took them all the way to the national championship. I had a mailbag question that I wanted to get to in regard to college football. Somebody asked about scheduling and how the Big Ten is a weak conference because of their scheduling. Well, as an SEC fan, it does pain me to say this. I'm not an SEC fan. I'm a fan of an SEC school. I got to correct myself on that. It irks me when people say an SEC fan, because you're not an SEC fan. You're not cheering for Alabama when you go to Georgia. You're not cheering for Auburn when you go to Alabama. You're not cheering for Mississippi State when you went to or graduated from Ole Miss, even if it's a bowl game, even if you're trying to stand up for the SEC. You don't really believe it. You enjoy watching Mississippi State crumble if you're an Ole Miss fan. So just had to get that off my chest. But scheduling in the Big Ten, guys, all right? Scheduling in the Big Ten, yes, maybe it has been a sort of weaker conference in regard to scheduling. But I just want to read you a quick 2026 schedule for what is probably going to be the preseason number one team in the country, in Ohio State, that is. Ohio State travels to Texas in week 2. Preseason ranked in some of these way too early rankings, Texas has come in as high as number 4 in the nation. Then they travel to at Iowa. That's a tough place to play. I don't care who you are. I don't care how good you are. At Iowa is a tough one to play. They just missed the top 25 in most of these way too early rankings. Then back-to-back weeks, they go to Indiana, to USC, and against Oregon in the Horseshoe. Talk about a stretch right there. Indiana, the defending national champs. USC has all of this hype around them. Lincoln Riley has his quarterback in Jaden Mayava. They're going to be a pretty decent team next year. And, of course, Oregon. Oregon is in a lot of books right now, the second, third best odds to win the national championship next year. So 3 straight weeks of top potentially 10 teams for Ohio State. And then they close out the year with Michigan. So we can say all we want about how the SEC week in, week out is the hardest conference to schedule, hardest conference to play in, week out. But Ohio State has a gauntlet ahead of them. So I'm tired of hearing all this Big Ten slander on scheduling, and that's why the the Ohio State Buckeyes and the Big Ten are just are not really that good of programs because their schedules are so easy. I just think it's asinine. I think it's stupid. Okay. Got to get to an ad read real quick. Subaru, Hughes Subaru of Athens is powering the Hammy Show on the road. Guys, we have so many trips planned throughout the course of the year. In the spring, we're going to baseball games, golf tournaments, tennis matches, basketball, anything and everything you can imagine. We're going to it, and it would not be possible without Hughes Subaru of Athens. Hughes Subaru gave me my second ever car, a Subaru Outback 2019. Model. It is the greatest car I've ever driven. I've sworn by that for quite a while now. I got the badass package on it. I got a roof rack. I got some tires on there. All right. You can make fun of me all you want, but it's a great car. Okay. And Hughes Subaru got that to me after I totaled my first car. And boy, have they been such a gem to work with. Just like First American, I value the most in a business how the people are. And the people at Hughes Subaru are just the best. They are the kindest people. They are just the most generous when it comes to anything dealing with your car. So if you're in the market for getting a car, check out Hughes Subaru here in Athens. It is you will not be disappointed, let me say that. But let's get on to the rest of the sports world. Golf. Brooks Koepka returns to golf today, to the PGA Tour. The Farmers Insurance Open is going on right now, and Brooks Koepka has made his long-anticipated return after being on the LIV for multiple years. Brooks Koepka said, hey, to hell with all the money. If there's no real purpose in the competition that I'm in, it doesn't matter what the money is. He's got to get back in the field. He wants to go win majors. He wants to be with the best of the best in the PGA Tour, on the PGA Tour. So Brooks Koepka, long-anticipated return. Thank goodness for Brooks back on the PGA Tour. Patrick Reed also announces his return to the PGA Tour. Not playing this weekend at the Farmers Insurance Open, but he will be back on the PGA Tour. So big news for Patrick Reed. And then the leaderboard. I don't have it pulled up. Let's see if we can get it real quick, guys. I'll type this in real quick. It's hard to type with just one hand. I'm holding this mic. All right. Let's see. Where are we? Here we go. All righty, guys. It's loading. It is loading. All right, Justin Lower in first place after day one, finished at 9 under, a 63 in round one. Max Grazerman at number 2 at 8 under. And then we've got a couple tied for third, Maverick McNeely, Steven Yeager, and Justin Rose, all at 7 under, tied for third. So there's your leaderboard of the Farmers Insurance Open, and happening right now. I think our farthest group back is through 11. So you still got some golf to watch if you're into a little Farmers Insurance Open in the early PGA Tour season. But on to baseball. Let's take it to the diamond, America's pastime, guys. College baseball behind football is my second favorite sport. I love college baseball. The fans, the atmosphere, the stadiums, just the sport. It's the purest probably college sport left. I just think it's the high of the big three. It's, still in that big three category: baseball, basketball, football. But out of all of them, these guys aren't getting paid like the basketball and football players. College baseball, they're just playing for the love of the game. It's America's pastime. And I really can't wait for college baseball season. So 16 days until college baseball. Cannot wait. First weekend of the year, we are going to Clemson. I'm going to officially announce it right now. We are going to Clemson for their opening weekend matchup against Army. We've got some connections with the Army baseball team, so we're hopefully going to bring you tons of content from week 1 of college baseball. On the pro side, the MLB opening day is 55 days away. It's the great time in the MLB. Spring training is about to kick into high gear. All of these things are coming out about the best prospects some of these teams have. So it is a fun time to be an MLB fan and getting ready for opening day here in 55 days. So we're going to do a little bet of the day. We're going to do it every single day, just something that stuck out to me. And one of the things that seemed highlighted on my screen was the Timberwolves at +6.5 at home against the Thunder. The Thunder are, of course, the NBA's best team, the defending champs, but the Timberwolves have a little revenge factor. Obviously, the Western Conference Finals last year, Anthony Edwards and the gang, they want to get back at the Thunder. They played them in Oklahoma City earlier this year, lost by 7. And then they played them at home in Minneapolis and beat them by 5, 112-107. The T-Wolves are 16-8 at home this season. They're 19-26 against the spread, which doesn't sound great, but in the last 20 games, they are 11-9, so in the positive, above 500, while the Thunder are 23-24 against the spread on the year. I love the Timberwolves plus 6.5 tonight. I think that revenge aspect of it, I think Anthony Edwards has a big game. I think the Timberwolves get at least cover against the Thunder tonight. I think they could even roll out the upset win in Minneapolis. So there's your bet of the day. And finally, our athlete of the day. This is a fun social media segment we're doing on Instagram and TikTok. On Instagram at _Hammy Show. On TikTok at the Hammy Show, no underscore there. But we're doing a little athlete of the day. We're doing a little hype video, mixtape, if you will, with some narration behind it. But it's brought to you by the Vinyl Frontier. So each one of these athletes that I'm picking for this random athlete of the day has a song that goes to the mixtape. And each of these songs have a meaning. And these meanings are maybe a little more obscure. Some are quite obvious. But today, we had Chauncey Billups, athlete of the day for January 29th, 2026, presented by the Vinyl Frontier, is Chauncey Billups. I'm going to get into Chauncey Billups, but first let's talk about the Vinyl Frontier. It is the greatest record store in all of America. The Vinyl Frontier is all about the experience. Going into the Vinyl Frontier there in Carrollton, Georgia, right on the town square in downtown Carrollton, the city of dreams, the Vinyl Frontier brings you a plethora of vinyl albums. It is awesome. It is one of the coolest atmospheres in music. I love going in there. They've got live music events, every weekend. It's a great, great, great place to get your music fix on. And we love the Vinyl Frontier, and we are so happy they are providing a sponsorship for the athlete of the day. So the athlete of the day today, presented by the Vinyl Frontier, is Chauncey Billups. Chauncey Billups, not the Portland Trail Blazers coach, not the guy that's being arrested for gambling today, but Chauncey Billups, the 2004 Finals MVP, the Lakers wrecker. Kobe and Shaq didn't have shit on Chauncey Billups. Chauncey Billups was the facilitator. He was the king of pass. He was Mr. Big Shot. He came in clutch every single game in that finals. Chauncey Billups, even though he is the gambler now, he was a damn good legend in Pistons lore. So Chauncey Billups, the Vinyl Frontier's athlete of the day. Our song for Chauncey Billups had to be The Gambler by Kenny Rogers. At the Vinyl Frontier, you can find all of Kenny Rogers' albums on vinyl, and I promise you they are worth the listen. Just having that classic Kenny Rogers album on the 8-track, God, that brings you home, doesn't it? That brings you home. But Chauncey Billups, the gambler, Mr. Big Shot, athlete of the day, presented by the Vinyl Frontier. So let's get into some of these comments real quick. We've got on the live chat, I know I saw one earlier. Oh, yeah, Walker.way5. Pete Golding is a no-good cheater, and that's why the Dogs lost. Egregious. Goes back to our conversation on Ole Miss tampering we had earlier in the show. It pains me that Ole Miss beat Georgia this year. And all of this cheating scandal, this tampering scandal does seem a little shady. So Pete Golding, he's the answer in Oxford right now. I respect him for sticking with Ole Miss amidst the Lane Kiffin drama. But if this is going to be the end-all, be-all, and this is going to be how he wins games is tampering with athletes, then I am in no support. So walk away. Agreed. Egregious. Let's see if we got any other comments on here. Falcons Tribe, how's it going, man? Man, we're doing great. Episode 2, installment 2 of the Daily Ham. Ladies and gentlemen, we can't thank you enough for being here with us. It has been awesome. Let's check the TikTok, see if we've got any comments. We almost asked somebody to host it with us. We don't want to do that. We don't know who we're inviting on here. I don't think we got anything on TikTok. But guys, I really appreciate it. We're going to wrap this thing up for the Daily Ham, a little 30-minute episode here on the Hammy Show. Follow us on social media at the _Hammy Show on Instagram, at the Hammy Show on TikTok and on Twitter. You can find us on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcast, Amazon, whatever, wherever you get your podcast on any listening platform. The Hammy Show is right there. You'll see this blonde afro on a logo. click on it. Give us a follow. Give us a subscription. We really appreciate it. That's what keeps this train rolling. That's what's going to take us to the moon, is if you help us, and I will continue to help you, because I'm going to bring you daily sports news every single weeknight. So, guys, once again, thank you so much. I'm Hammy Culpepper. This is the Hammy Show, presented by First American Bank and Trust. We will see you tomorrow. I'll update you on the time here on TikTok and Instagram on what time we'll go live. But happy Friday tomorrow. It's the beginning of the weekend. The weekend always starts on a Thursday. But guys, if you have any questions, drop it in the DMs. Ask us. We'll get it in the mailbag segment. I can't wait to keep talking sports with you here on the Daily Ham. So I'm going to sign it off. Remember, ham it up, ladies and gentlemen.